had a very troublesome childhood. She had a very alcoholic mother that did drugs and actually tried to herself. I was stuck in a toxic relationships. Honestly, it was a very, very dark time in my life. I'm here to show you how to level up doing one simple yet life-altering thing. And if you watch this video and implement everything that we say for the next 30, 60, 90 days, your life will drastically change. What if in 2025 you can unlock a version of yourself that you never even dared to imagine? We all have this feeling of being stuck in our old habits, stuck in our limiting beliefs that prevent us from being the best versions of ourselves. And if you're watching this right now, maybe the universe or whatever you believe in is sending you a sign to finally level up. And if you watch this video and implement everything that we say for the next 30, 60, 90 days, your life will drastically change. My name is Dre, and I love having conversations about self-improvement. So if that resonates with you, consider liking and subscribing to this channel. So grab a cup of your favorite drink, get comfortable, because I'm here to show you how to level up doing one simple yet life-altering thing. But here's the catch. Once you embrace this new self of yours, there's no turning back. You cannot give your old self the same type of energy and the same amount of time anymore, because that old self doesn't deserve it. And that, my friend, once you make that decision, is when you'll see life-altering changes for yourself. I want you to imagine this. You wake up every day feeling unstoppable, confident, laser focused on your goals, and ready to tackle the day. And I'm not talking about superficial changes or temporary fixes. I'm talking about an entire rebrand from the inside out. Imagine waking up every day feeling so unstoppable and so different than the person that you were last year that you eventually have to reintroduce yourself to the world. Sounds wild, right? But it's absolutely possible, because this was me 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I was overweight, I was hopeless, I was in a very, very dark hole. I felt worthless, I had bad relationships with food, I was stuck in a toxic relationships. Honestly, it was a very, very dark time in my life. And worst of all, I allowed a person to determine what my self-worth is. I sought external validation from people because I didn't have an ounce of self-respect or self-love. Fast forward now, I'm in a very healthy relationship with a partner that has the same growth mindset, and it's just so nice to be in a space where you feel safe and you feel like you can just constantly grow. I started my business and I scaled that to 6 figures, and I have a newfound love for fitness and health. This is to show you what's real, and this is to show you what's possible after a true identity shift. Everything except death is reversible, and it's now time for you to tap into that, because you truly deserve it too. You are what you do. Every decision, every thought, every habit, every action that you take every day determines who you are as a person. I know it's hard to believe sometimes, but the power to change is already inside of you. You just need to know how to tap into that. Now, I'm not here to sugarcoat things. Transformation isn't just a magical pill that you just swallow and then suddenly you wake up rejuvenated and you're an entirely new person. Transforming your life is a conscious decision that you make every single day to choose something different than we have chosen in the past. So I want to invite you to a 90-day challenge where you commit to building this new identity for yourself, brick by brick. And it's going to take time, it's gonna be overwhelming, you might lose some friends, but I promise you, if you stick to committing this to yourself, then by the end of the 30, 60, 90 days of your commitment, you'll see the best version of yourself that you've always wanted to be. The first thing to really understand is how you talk to yourself, the power of words. Words are very powerful. Words have started wars. Some people have used words to write literature, famous books, and some people have used it to manipulate, influence, or inspire. Words are basically weapons, and it can work for you or against you depending on how you use it. The language that you use to speak to yourself drastically changes the way that you see things. For example, if you say that this is a challenging situation, it puts you more in a problem-solving mood, even if it's challenging, rather than saying, oh, this task is impossible. I'm not a mental health specialist, and by all means, take this with a grain of salt, but can we at least agree that if you tie your identity and label yourself as something, it can worsen your symptoms? For example, if you say, oh, I have anxiety, well, guess what? You're going to start acting like a person with anxiety. So what do? You're going to overthink, you're going to worry, you're going to be fearful. I know this is a very controversial topic, but I hope you reflect on the words that you use every day. What reality are you creating with the words that you're using every day? What reality are you creating with the words that you're telling yourself? And as you reflect on the words that you're using every day, it's very, very important to be in tune with yourself. Take some time to actually write down things that you value, the person that you want to become, and truly understand you. It's very, very important to start building that internal compass, because that inner voice shouldn't come from anyone else but you. If you don't have an internal compass, then you risk adopting someone else's values, get confused with your own dreams, and let people define what you truly want to achieve. But that's not going to bring you any fulfillment because this is your life. And I agree that some people have your best interests in mind, but asking for external validation and asking for advice becomes a habit, and one day you're going to ask someone that advice and this person doesn't have your best interest and will actually want to ruin you, and I don't want that to happen to you. So instead, practice investing in understanding who you truly are. What are the values that you want to have? What is your dream? Who do you have to become to make that a reality? Every time you tell yourself, I'm a productive person, I am disciplined, I am ambitious, you're basically affirming that new identity of yours that you're stepping into. This intentional language becomes your internal compass and reshapes your reality, but the same is true if you keep telling yourself, I can't do it. And here's the hard truth. The reality that you live in is a direct reflection of your self-concept or what you tell yourself. If you keep telling yourself, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve success, and that is a narrative that you're going to live by, and it skews the world around you. In psychology, there's a thing called confirmation bias, and it's basically favoring the information that matches your belief. If you keep telling yourself that I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy, then guess what? Even if blessings are actually handed to you, you're not even going to accept them because you're functioning from a place of I'm not worthy. It's like when it starts to rain and you want to catch as much water as you can, but the only thing that you have is a strainer. Guess what? You're not going to catch any water at all. So you're not going to catch any blessings if your foundation isn't built to do that. So to accept any blessings in life, you have to start here. You have to start in the foundations. Who do you want to be? What are the values that you want to do? And do you think you deserve it? Do you think you deserve success? You need to change your self-concept. So what if we flip the script? What if in the next 30 days you actually focus on what you can do instead of I can't do it? What do you think would change? Just for 30 days, if you can make that commitment of fully diving into whatever you're wanting to do with full confidence you're going to be able to do it, I promise you your life will drastically change. Stop validating your own doubts, challenge your negative thoughts, and replace them with affirmations of the person you want to be. Visualize this new identity. How does she speak? What is her energy? How does she carry herself? This isn't just idle daydreaming of you thinking nothing. This is building the blueprint of who you want to become in 2025. Every time you affirm your strengths and every time you affirm yourself for the new identity you're building, then you're starting to step into this new identity. Over time, this inner language of yours becomes stronger and stronger and becomes easier. I promise you that, because that's what I've seen from my own life, and that's what I've seen for Layla Hormozi as well. If you don't know Layla Hormozi, she's actually one of two of the Hormozis that have built over $100 million net worth empire. It's wild. But she didn't start there. If you actually look into her, she had a very troublesome childhood. She had a very alcoholic mother that did drugs and actually tried to herself in front of Layla, and that was a very traumatic childhood experience, but she didn't use that as an excuse. Instead, she used that to fuel the life that she always wanted to have. She said, I don't want to be like that. And of course, it took her time to realize that it wasn't just an overnight change that suddenly she's miraculously $1 million owner. She also adopted a lot of those negative habits. She actually got arrested 6 times in a year. She was an alcoholic. She used drugs in the past, but somewhere down the road, she realized this is not the life I want to live. And that was a choice she had to make. She didn't wait for the world to change her. She didn't wait for a miracle to happen. One day she woke up and said, I decide that this is no longer what I want from my life, and how can I build a new one that I've always dreamt of and I can be proud of? Her change is not an overnight miracle. It is constant decision she had to make every single day to create an unshakable confidence that she has. She took action every day to step into that new identity and never looked back. So you can't wait for things to be lucky. You can't wait for a miracle. You can't wait for people to come into your life and change you. You have to decide that for yourself. That's when you'll start accepting blessings, and people that are truly there for you will come to your life. Associating with an identity makes things a lot easier. It's a difference between saying I want to be productive versus I am a productive person. By assuming the identity, the action becomes way easier. So I challenge you to be very mindful of your self-talk. talk? What are you telling yourself every single day? How can you rephrase a hard situation and make it so that the world is for you and not against you? Because these things matter. Every one of us will have failures, mistakes, challenges, but it's all about how you see those challenges. Instead of saying, I'm too tired for the gym, say, I am tired of going to the gym, but today I'm still going because I want to build discipline in my life. So if you acknowledge how you feel, but also put a positive spin on it, then you'll never lose. And it's just that. How can you actually reframe it so you don't feel like a victim? And that's essentially what separates the people who are at the bottom and the people who are at the top. People at the top, they don't feel like they're failing at all. Every single mistake is an indicator for them that something needs to change or something needs to improve, and they just keep going. Your inner language is the most important tool because it shapes your narrative. It shapes the world that you live in. And that is the first step of actually becoming this new identity, this new self that you've always been dreaming of. Okay, but you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. Where do I start? I got you. The secret is in micro habits. What are the small things that you can do every single day that can move you closer to your goal? Just imagine if you're trying to run a marathon, you're not just gonna run 13 miles. You're gonna start by lacing up your shoes. Then you affirm that as part of your identity and you reward yourself with just positive thoughts. Our brains function with dopamine, so if you actually put positive spins and even affirmations, it can actually release dopamine in your brain. So the more dopamine you can release while you're affirming this behavior, it starts becoming part of your identity. And this has helped me stop my sugar addiction. This has helped me transform my eating habits, helped me go to the gym. It starts with the micro habits. So you start tying your shoes, then eventually you'll see yourself running a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, 5 miles, and then it becomes easy after that. Those micro wins that you build every single day builds momentum over time. I promise you that. And by time you'll see that you're actually on a flow and everything is a lot easier. You've adopted healthier habits than you have in the past. That's just brainless at this point. And that's when you know that the identity you have is completely different than the person you were 3 years ago. Discipline is what carries you forward and not fleeting bursts of motivation. The day you decide differently than what you have chosen in the past, when for example, you didn't want to wake up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym, but you do it anyway, that's when you start assuming that new identity because you've chosen things the person you were 3 years ago would never have done. And that's essentially what I mean by a small step to success. Remember, success isn't just one grand gesture alone. It is a buildup of small micro wins over time. Follow the plan, not your mood. This is something that has definitely been very impactful in my life, and I hope it is for you too. When I was trying to lose weight, I definitely had that feeling where I don't even want to go to bed, I don't want to go gym, but I chose discipline over a fleeting feeling of motivation. I said, you know, the commitment that I made to myself is way more important than feeling motivated because I don't want to let myself down. And I realized every single time that I did that I made a decision, even if it sucks, that's when I actually started building that discipline. Because discipline isn't about how you feel in the moment, it is about the commitment that you made to yourself and keeping that promise. So here's another challenge. For the next 30, 60, 90 days, commit to one small thing. Whether it's drinking a gallon of water, reading 10 pages in a book, running, something that will be easy for you to commit every single day, because this is going to build your self-trust and your confidence in yourself that you can do what you say. And it starts to build up discipline that will carry you forward. At first, it's gonna feel like it's a lot of work, but over time it becomes habit. We are creatures of habit, and your brain wants to automate every single thing that you do. So if you incorporate this healthy habit, over time it's gonna be easy peasy for you. You're gonna wake up at 5 a.m., go to the gym like it's nothing, and it's expected because that's just who you are. The last thing I want to talk about is we live in a culture full of distractions. We have social media, we have constant notifications, we can go online and be invested in other people's lives, but that will drown out the inner voice that you're trying to create. So if you can dedicate the last hour of your day to just tune out the world, focus on you, start journaling, and figure out who you actually want to be, then you're going to be more biased with your own inner voice and not let outsiders or people actually tell you what you need to be. And that's essentially this exercise is this is your world. This is your life. How do you want to live your life? Who do you want to impact? You know, what fulfills your soul? Those are the questions that you need to start asking. And think of your mind as a garden. If you let weeds, negative self-talk, negative thoughts really run rampant in your brain, it's going to spread. That's gonna be everything that you think about. But if you let positive thoughts and positive affirmations actually replace those weeds, and guess what? That's going to flourish in your brain. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I actually recently announced on my Instagram, Better Human Being, which is a community I want to build that can help you actually progress with your goals as a creator, as a business owner, as an individual. I realize that we are all human beings and we all have the potential to grow to something bigger than what we are now, but it does take the right type of environment. It takes a lot of patience to really unlock that transformation. So I really hope that we can start building this community. If that resonates with you, I will truly be grateful if you can subscribe and like this video and share to anyone that can find this message very helpful. We practice a no beans left behind policy on here, so consider subscribing and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!